Hello everybody, it's Nekkra and TheSavedOne. We're here bringing you a minors matchup now between Otter, Oxide, and Greyhound Solar. We're right about to get into it, but I gotta ask you, TheSavedOne, how are you and how much have you missed Overwatch?
I have missed Overwatch so much. If you guys don't know who I am, then I mostly cast League of Legends, and League of Legends is a very slow-paced, methodical game. But when you come over to Overwatch, it's a little bit of downtime and then a lot of action, and then a little bit of downtime and then a lot of action. And I love it so much. And this is what has hooked me on to casting this game. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be here and doing it with you tonight.
I'm so excited to be casting with you too. I feel like we've missed a couple of opportunities in the past to be able to cast together, and we get to do it now.
Finally.
For both of these teams here, Otter Oxide at the moment is in a playoff spot, and they're now just playing for seeding for playoffs, and Greyhound Solar is trying to come back from things. So they've been having a little bit of a rougher season. They are currently 8th in the standings, but they're not so far off that a playoff spot is out of the question. We do need to see them take some maps off of Otter Oxide though tonight, and hey, you know what? I think they can do it.
Yeah, when you're in week 3, it's really time to buckle down in terms of the things that you need to work on as a team, right? The coach knows exactly what these guys need to work on, and the teammates know what they need to work on. And they've had all week to prep that, and then now finally you come into the weekend. It's the last day of the week, and you just got to really display and show what you've been working on this whole time.
Oh, this is basically like a whole weekend of warm up and preparation for these teams now, as you're absolutely right. This is day 2 of week 3 here, and they still have 2 more weeks left of stage 2 before the playoff season starts for Owlet. But let's talk a little bit about these players, since they're just trying to figure out, what kind of team composition they want to run. I'm looking at the team information here, and I've got to say that I think that Greyhound Solar's main tank, Paper Monk, is going to have the flexibility needed for a control point such as Ilios.
Well, yeah, usually when you play on this type of map, you do want a shield tank, and I think that Orisa really does fit this comp perfectly. But if you also do want to switch to some other type of shield tank, just like the Reinhardt, you're not going to be taking a huge, fault to that either, because it's not really too hard to play someone like a Reinhardt. You just swing your hammer and then you lower down your shield. But Orisa does take just a little bit more skill, and if you can play the Orisa, then you can play the Reinhardt as well. So we'll see what he goes for.
Yeah, and it does look like from both of these teams here, we're actually going to see a little bit more of a chase down comp coming out from Otter Oxide. So you do have that Reaper in the DPS slot here, and a third tank for the second DPS on Greyhound Solar. They've got a Pharmacy. Let's see how this plays out here as both of these teams start coming into each other here on the point. And that's going to be a nice Bionade here coming out from Litcat to try to keep everybody on Otter Oxide alive. But it's still, guns a-blazing here as Greyhound Solar is just trying to find an opening here on the point. It's going to be the Brutal One finding first blood onto Dr. Professor Oak as that point flips over to Otter Oxide, and now it's a cleanup here. It's going to be a lot of Brutal One brutally aggressing onto Greyhound Solar here as they back up.
And that is the Reaper in action. We know that Reaper loves to do this, where he likes to get into the back line, go around the hyper carries, and then destroy them. It's exactly what Reaper did just there. And he went on almost kind of like a solo mission. While the rest of the other team was full on focus on the point, Reaper was just there like 2 shotguns, shotgunning the enemy team, and he was doing it in style. He takes down 2 of them, and it allowed the rest of his team just to cap the point and as well get 1 more kill with the D.Va.
Yeah, that Lucio is really important for repositioning out that Reaper to try to get to the backline. I think it was really intelligent as well that we saw Brutal One go after the damage that was on Greyhound Solar, that ground tracer. So getting that tracer out of the way meant that your backline was very protected here. But look at Agathon. What is the Sombra doing here?
Yeah, the Sombra usually likes to get into the backline and look for little openings, and I think she's trying to do it right here. I believe she came on invisible, and she's trying to teleport now into high ground.
Oh yeah, they're actually going to get a hack onto the Reaper there, knowing that they're going to be really close to that ultimate, if not there already. But an opening pick here from Sakura means that it's just going to be another kind of domino effect as Greyhound Solar has to back up. But they need to find an opening. They've been taking a lot of time here, haven't they, TheSavedOne?
Yeah, that's usually why you like to take the Sombras, because you like to get into the backline, deal a little bit of commotions, and then maybe try and hack somebody to look for another opening. But this Sombra became, she She was invisible to start it off, and then she went uninvisible, and then just tried to teleport, but the D.Va was just so incredibly sticky. But now she's on a 1v1 with Reaper. She does get out alive, though, which is kind of nice.
It is, but that timer is ticking down. It's going to be 10 seconds for Greyhound Solar to be able to touch this point, and they don't have a whole lot to be able to do that. Hopefully they're going to get the opening pick with the EMP, but Xavier is going to take out 3 before that EMP can go off, meaning that it's just going to be hammer time here for Xavier, and I think that's going to be a point in favor of Otter Oxide to start off this series.
Yeah, and that's going to be it. The Reinhardt with the 3-man kill into the Earthshatter was just beautiful Reinhardt play.
Wow.
Xavier coming out strong, and they take the first map here. It's 1-0. This is beautiful.
It is really nice to see Otter Oxide in this position right now, but I think that Greyhound Solar is going to need to be able to, you know, find an opening. I think that they got out-aggressed there by Xavier a little bit, which means that they just need to, you know, I think the Sombra, they were waiting too long to try to find an opening and move in on it.
Yeah, sometimes when a pick doesn't really work or is too forced into a comp, you can really see it and pinpoint it out, like how you were saying. It's just that the Sombra didn't really know what he was doing in that scenario, and whenever he did get caught out, he was constantly being stuck on. And maybe in these scenarios, you either keep it or you don't. And right now, Agathon, he's just saying, look, team, you got to trust me right now, and I'm going to try and pull it out a little bit better.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to have to be patient here as Agathon's looking in the back line to try to get a hack potentially onto, you know, that stationary McCree, get some of that damage out of the way here. But the way that Otter Oxide set up on the point, this, you know, movable Orisa shield, they're going to have to rotate. And that's exactly what they're doing as Papermonk goes in and goes wild. That was going to be a quick speed onto them with Paddington bringing the teams into each other here, but Papermonk going down very early means that that shield is going to be out of the way, and it's going to be Xavier here bunkering down onto point. But Vorden
there's a pause.
There is going to be a pause. It looks like we had somebody leave from the side of Greyhound Solar. So, but of course, as soon as they leave, it's going to be back. But that point cap already from Greyhound Solar, it feels like they're going to be in a good position for this first team fight.
Oh, definitely. Usually when you cap the point, you already gain a little bit of a momentum, and right now you really only have the Zarya and the Zenyatta dead. Even though those are two very important members of the team, you still have Papermonk there if he does want to try and stall it out a little bit. Paddington on the Lucio. We know that Lucio usually likes to skate around the point in order to keep it. And you can already see him jumping into the middle hole where he's just going to go around in circles, round and round and round, just try and stall it out again. So it is going to take just a little bit for the other team just to try and cap it back, but I think red team is just going to be able to stall it out.
Well, the thing too about the comps that Otter Oxide is running is that it really works better if you do get control of the point first, because Orisa is such a stationary hero that you really can bunker down and create a fortress on point that Greyhound Solar would have a really tough time getting through. So if Otter Oxide doesn't take it back here, I see a composition switch potentially happening. And so, you know, what might you switch to in that case?
There's a couple of interesting options that you could switch to. I think something that you're a little bit more comfortable with, but you can already see a pick right off the bat. Paddington ends up suiciding, as well as just the D.Va, and another pick going over onto the side of Greyhound.
Yeah, it does look like Famzu's going to try to reset that mech a little bit, but now look at the positioning that Otter Oxide has here.
Yeah, it's a decent positioning where you just get yourself into a corner with the Orisa shield. You can already see the Sombra in the backline, which isn't too bad if she wants to go in for something. She just have 91%, so she's waiting for her EMP.
Oh, yeah, that EMP is going to be huge here and hopefully create the opening that Greyhound Solar needs to try to get back into this point, because they already have 10% progress. But that's going to be a bubble here coming up from Borden to try to keep Papermonk alive and get into it. But that Anti is going to enable Otter Oxide to take that shield down as quickly as it came upon them. And I don't even know if they're going to be able to get this EMP off here, as there are members of Greyhound Solar falling one by one. And I think this is just going to be another solid hold here for Otter Oxide.
Just the absolute pop off on Brutal One. He ends up coming in with the McCree with 2 quick kills to start off the fight, and it was just beautiful how the rest of the team just played off of the momentum. And you can still see the Sombra in the backline. She's got her EMP. She says, "Don't worry, guys, I'm still here," and she's just waiting for her one main opportunity. But the thing is that when you can't pierce the force of an Orisa and Roadhog, it's going to get very, very hard for you to counter anything.
No, it's very true. But look at this. I think they're ready to go. That EMP about to come out here over the shield. That's going to get absolutely everybody except that Lucio. Just going to get him coming clutch with a sound barrier there. Diva Bomb coming in. That's not going to get too much, but that's going to make the music happen for Xavier. Bongo's going down to increase the damage here, coming out onto Greyhound Solar, and that's going to be a nice CC off of the point, bullying them back to spawn as that timer ticks up. I think this might be it, SavedOne. Got 5 seconds.
Otter Oxide with just the beautiful team fight coordination. They stay themselves right in the corner of the point. They allow themselves just to take this map. Beautiful job.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a pretty strong showing here from Otter Oxide so far, but we got to give shouts to Xavier here because we all remember this play from game 1 where it really was hyper Reinhardt here just going in with that triple loop off the edge. That's
you trust the hammer, and this is exactly what happens. You just swing it once and you get 3 man off the side. Oh my goodness. And then just the Earth Shatter just to finish it all off. Beautiful stuff. And they also give the honors over to it's split over on Otter Oxide. 2 go over to Ryan.
Oh, that's just a great way to start off the series, but we still have some time here. Greyhound Solar, I think just, for the most part, has always needed a map to warm up. So I think this is just going to be their warm-up map, and things might be a little bit better as we move to Rialto for our next map of the night. And for those of you that are maybe just tuning in to Overwatch for the first time, or you're here to support your friends that play this game, escort maps involve a payload making their way through 3 checkpoints on the map. As each checkpoint gets captured, you do have extra time that ends up being added to the clock in order to make it to that 3rd checkpoint that the attacking team is trying to get. What the defending team's job is trying to do is to keep everybody from moving that payload, and that happens if you're standing near the point or if you basically kill everybody that is pushing that payload. So, you know, when we look at the team compositions that we just saw from Otter Oxide and Greyhound Solar, knowing that we are moving to this payload-heavy map, so just to remind everybody, we saw a bunker composition from Otter Oxide, and Greyhound Solar was running more of a deathball comp with this Sombra. Who do you think is going to fare a little bit better for this, this kind of map?
I think that Otter Oxide is going to ultimately push the payload just a little bit better. They were more together as a team, even though some of their heroes are really, really good on control points. I think a control point is an amazing map to start off with because it allows you to learn a little or get warmed up with team communication. You know exactly where to set up and where or when to go in and who to focus. And when you place like a map like Rialto where you're just pushing a payload, it allows you to do almost kind of like that same thing where you have a couple of people on a payload, and you're ultimately looking for picks and looking for little openings and team fights when the other team comes and tries to contest the payload. And I think that what we saw in the last map, Otter Oxide can do that job on both a control map and a payload map just that much easier.
I kind of wonder, though, whether or not we're going to see more of the flexibility and versatility from Greyhound Solar come into play here. But there's something really important to note that Otter Oxide does have a lot of flex players and really only has 2 tanks. So we see that Sakura was playing that tank role before, and we've got a couple of swaps now coming in from Otter Oxide. We will see Bird coming in, which is really exciting because Bird's Pharah is absolutely phenomenal. So I kind of wonder whether or not we're going to see some of that pharmacy play here from both of these teams, because Greyhound Solar tried it out too on Ilios.
Yeah, Greyhound did try it out, and it didn't really work for them, so they had to switch it out eventually. But if you can pull it off on a payload map, then it can really, really work because you have a couple of people in the, or 2 people in the air, just, you know, picking people off, and then the rest are on the payload. You really only need, I believe it's 3 or 4 on the payload in order to get it at max speed. So with 2 in the air, it could really just be that much better. But a lot of defense has to come out and fast, because when you're on this type of map, these points can go by really, really fast. And if you can't defend, then it's just going to be a total stomp.
Yeah, that's true. We have seen teams in the past really take the momentum that they gain from winning maybe the first one or two team fights
Yeah.
here on an escort map and just kind of run away with it. But we
Mhm.
will see Greyhound Solar at the attack first, and Otter Oxide deciding what they want to come out of spawn with too. And we're going to see that now. We're absolutely going to see that Pharah play, but we're not going to see a Mercy. So talk me through
Mhm.
the support choices here coming out from Otter Oxide and how that's going to work in this
I think
comp.
I think that right now Anna is she's thinking very like long term in a sense. Even though Pharah is really really good in the air, she's looking more towards the Reinhardt combo because they did pair it up with the Zarya. They also paired it up with the Lucio and also the Ashe. The Ashe can play a really good role in there as well with the Bob. So if the Graviton Surge does want to go out, Reinhardt goes in. All of a sudden the nano boost is on the Reinhardt. You can maybe send Bob in there and the Lucio can help out as well. It does kind of leave Pharah in a weird spot because when she does have the Mercy by her side, she can play a little bit more reckless. She can be in the air, take a couple of shots, and still be okay. Right. Without the Mercy, you know, she's going to be choosing her little points to go up and you know,
yeah,
basically just
she has to rely kind of more so on the accuracy coming out from Litcat to be able to be healed here or play a little bit more defensively with the Lucio, but you'd never want to see a Pharah on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. You never want to see a ground Pharah. Grounded Pharah doesn't mean good things, and already off the bat, Zarya does get eliminated. Also, Paper Mug with a nice Earth Strike.
Yeah, that was a nice trade here. Paper Monk's gonna take out the repositioning effect here on Otter Oxide, which might give them the opening that they need to move forward. But without those buffs, that's going to be an aggressive Reinhardt getting punished there because there's nothing to be able to save them from the onslaught in the air here coming out from Bird. But that payload's still gonna be rounding that corner. A lot of space getting created by Agathon. That's gonna be a nice dome. That's gonna take out that aerial threat that Greyhound Solar is so afraid of, and as that part continues to creep forward, so does the aggression. Unfortunately, with that anti, though, that will be those discords getting taken out of the fight, and Otter Oxide might be all but stabilizing here.
That was beautiful. Like you just said, the anti opened the door for Xavier just to go in and just unleash his hammer onto a lot of those members and just eliminated the enemy team. The one thing that I was thinking though is that Agathon was on this side, and I was like, maybe if he can snipe, then it would definitely pay off. But if not really that good on the Widow, it's kind of a wasted pick. And he definitely proved me wrong. He just totally sniped, and Bird was like, have one back at you, and then just poops him off as well.
Yeah, apparently that's going to be a quick swim there for Agathon, and that's going to take that hit scan damage out of the fight as Paper Monk and Xavier are still kind of meeting at this point, but they've got to get aggressive here if they want to make something happen. Greyhound Solar looking at a different way of approaching this point here, but as that Earthshatter comes out, that's going to be a nice block, though, for at least Paper Monk's Earthshatter, but Xavier is going to get theirs out first, and that's just continued defense here.
Yeah, just the defense coming out from Otter Oxide is beautiful. And this little choke in particular, it is very hard in order to get through this choke because of how small it is and the different little, I guess, back alley ways that you can go. It can open up a lot of opportunities, but if you're very predictable on those flanks, then it's not really going to do the best for you. And already Agathon with a nice snipe.
Yeah, I like the way that they're playing this. Oh, but the Pharmacy Barrage, that's going to take out two on Greyhound Solar. And even though this card is continuing to move, well, I might have spoke too soon here. I think that momentum is still going back in the ways of Greyhound Solar, especially because Agathon is doing a great job of keeping that threat out of the skies. But oh my goodness, just a melee kill to finish off Xavier, and this cart just keeps rolling. But without that shield, I wonder if Otter Oxide's going to be able to come back and contest.
They might. I don't think so. They do have Bob, though. It's gonna go in. It's not gonna charge anybody, though.
Is Bob gonna do something here? I don't know, but Xavier is gonna try to come in and do something for them. That's gonna be a second Bob coming out from Greyhound Solar, and it's gonna be a 7v7 here for just a few moments. That
nice transcendence.
Gonna be a nullification of that Graviton, though, with Dr. Professor Oak's Transcendence. And as it comes down to the wire with almost 10 seconds left on the clock, it's just back and forth. We're seeing on the point not a whole lot happening for anybody, but Bird with an open pick might seal the deal for Otter Oxide. to take this defense and stop Greyhound Solar from touching the first point. It's just a last-ditch Zenyatta and Zarya effort here, but with that shot to the face, that is going to be Brutal1 chasing down the last efforts from Greyhound Solar to be able to touch this point.
Oh, and there you go. Bird with the sacrifice. I believe he just blew himself up there, but it's still fine because they did just hold the payload before that first tick. Nice job by Otter Oxide, just stopping. I believe it was three different team fights they ended up getting into before it was just finally all over. It also looked like Greyhound had a little bit of something there, but they just couldn't push the payload just by that little margin. So it's just going to be Otter Oxide now on attack. I want to see what they do here.
I expect some more Pharah.
Yeah.
Because whenever Bird comes out, that's like the Thunderbird. She's just so explosive when it comes to playing that hero that you can kind of figure out whenever you see her coming into the lineup that it is going to be, Bird's the word here.
Yeah. She didn't even need the Mercy paired up with him. It's just like, all right, let's just try this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And all of a sudden, Bird, all they were asking Bird to do is go 1 for 1, and then all of a sudden, he starts going 2 for 1, and then eventually, it
snowballs.
Yeah, it snowballed. So he did his job, and then the rest of the team was just kind of there. I want to see if Bird still ends up going for the Torb and the Bastion over on this team. Well, kind of clowning around, but they're also not.
Before we get debated, maybe we can talk a little bit about Greyhound Solar's composition since they're out of the spawn gates and look at where they're set up too.
Yeah, they're still in that choke, like we were talking, or like I was talking about in that last match. But I kind of like their combo a little bit more than what Otter Oxide had to offer in the last one, because you still have the Graviton, you still have the Earth Shatter, but then now you have the Zenyatta and the Hanzo to back you up. But Paper Monk taking out one of the turrets already.
That turret going down means that cooldown is going to have to come back online quickly for Bird if they want to get some more turret presence. But that was a quick delete there by Brutal1, just knocking down that front line for Greyhound Solar. This cart is just still making its way through here, and very quickly, I might add.
Yeah, and Brutal alone sees every single member of the enemy team and takes them all out. Even when he got eliminated, the Mercy was still there, right? He rezzed them, and then now they're just pushing in that payload ever so fast.
Oh, that was gonna be almost a great grab off of the map there by Xavier, but it will be Greyhound Solar continuing to get back to point. Disappoint though, gonna be able to get the res off onto that Bastion.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that Twin Dragon's not gonna be enough to keep Otter Oxide off of that point and winning the second map.
Yeah, they played off of the momentum.
And some of the other roles where